What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Kicking It podcast. Now, for those of you who do not really know who I am, I'm Isaac Fleischer, one of the lead actors in the production Kicking It, and I just had the idea that we should make a podcast. Talk about this. I'm very passionate about this movie. I enjoyed being in the process of creating a movie, filming it, editing it, but also being one of the star actors. So I thought, what better way to keep our audience engaged than making a podcast where I could, talk about the productions from my point of view, but also, have you guys call, interact with me. And I can answer whatever questions that you guys may have about this production. So, anyways, I guess let's get right into it. Episode 1, and the way I want to start this off is I want to talk about the genre we picked. So, the genre that we picked for this production was the sports genre. Sports is a universal language. I feel like everybody loves sports. So, what better way for us to pick that genre? And a very important aspect in sports movies that we see that's very common is that sports movies really follow the story of an underdog. They tend to illustrate somebody that's a come from behind story, someone from a lower class, someone that really had to work hard for what they did. And that really is just the magic of sports. For example, in one of my favorite movies, Remember the Titans, they did just that, where it was a community that I wouldn't say was the best financially. It was decent financially, but wasn't the best, and they had a lot of racial issues within that community. But they brought a new coach, a black head coach, kind of tied the community together from the black people, the white people. They ended up becoming a great, legendary household name high school team. And that movie, in fact, made $136.8 million in the box office. So that production really did very well, and that has kind of inspired us and showed that we could do something just like that and be one of the next great sports movies. Oh, looks like I'm getting our first caller. Hello, you are live on the Kicking It podcast. Say your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm from Chicago.
That's awesome. I love Chicago, great city. My dad's actually from there. But Dan, pleasure speaking to you. I'm assuming you have a question you'd like to ask.
Yes, absolutely. Why did you choose to represent Gabriel as someone from the upper class? We don't usually see that, do we?
Yeah, Dan, that is a really good question. So, as we were talking about a little earlier, I'm sure you were tuning in. Obviously, we mentioned that these sports movies got a similar characteristic of a come from behind story. People from a lower class is what we tend to see. So we chose to do something a little different, and we wanted to really make Gabriel someone from the upper class, where he doesn't really need sports in his life, but it's more just from the pure, passion, the love of the game. And that's really why we wanted Daniel to be wealthy, just to provide a different perspective, but to also show to our target audience, since a lot of them will be coming from an upper class, middle class home that's watching the movie, just to make it maybe a little more relatable to them, and just try something new in the sports industry, since it's not really done.
Wow, thanks so much for explaining that. Great show so far.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Honestly, that was pretty awesome getting our first caller. Didn't expect that to happen so soon, but and we're just continuing on in our movie. I did mention this a second ago. Our target audience, or people that will be seeing our movie, will probably be people from the upper middle class, but also common sense. We're doing a sports movie, so there's going to be a lot of sports lovers seeing our show, and I think that was another key factor of why we really wanted to do sports, was because sports is just super popular, especially in the United States. Like, according to a graph on Statista.com, 74% of the country claims to be a sports lover in some capacity. So obviously, very, very popular sports in general, no matter what sport it is. So we just want to make sure that we did something that a lot of people like, a lot of people enjoy. I'm sure you can see by my room, I love sports. A lot of people do. So that's why we chose to do that. And we also wanted to make sure that this was engaging to our target audience. And some things that I like about sports movies, along with the underdog stories, making you feel like you could accomplish something special, was also by, I guess, adding in elements such as a trailer that I'm sure you guys have seen of Gabriel playing soccer. We wanted to add in a lot of things from the game itself. We want our fans and audience to feel like they are actually watching a sports game or something like that. We want them to be on the edge of their seats, rooting for the team. So that's really why we chose to do that. And in terms of now distributing this so they could see it, we want to make sure that this is on all big platforms. We want to put it on YouTube. That's obviously very popular, but also social media such as Instagram and Twitter. We want to have a big Twitter presence because Twitter is honestly a big platform for sports. That's where all the breaking news comes out. So we thought, why not put everything on Twitter where a lot of sports lovers already are? So that's why we chose to do that, and we're hoping it gets a lot of views and a lot more great feedback. Seems like we got some good stuff going on already. We've had a couple callers. Hoping to get another one coming in very, very soon. But yeah, I guess we will just. Oh, what do you know? About to move on to our next topic. We have another caller. I will let this person talk right now. Hello, you were on the Kicking It podcast. How's it going? Say your name and where you're from.
Oh, my name's Rachel, and I'm from Florida.
Awesome, Rachel. Well, it's great to be speaking to you. I'm sure you have some lovely questions that you'd like for me to answer.
Yeah, I actually do. I was wondering, what did you learn from this project in terms of production, since you had a pretty integral role in it?
Rachel, great question. Yeah, I did have, a pretty integral role, I would say, in this production. Obviously, besides being one of the actors, I really got to have more of a behind the scenes kind of role, which I thought was a really interesting experience for me since I am more used to being in front of the camera and basically doing just that. But I would say a couple of things I learned was being able to storyboard, being able to really plan and draw out the shots and see the shots before you actually film them. I thought that was very cool. But also another thing was that we really had to go in the minor details, had to really focus on the minor things of the production, such as when you're filming something, you got to make sure all the objects are in the same place as they were before. You don't want to make it seem like you filmed this thing in multiple days. You want to make it seem like it was a fluid process and that everything was all filmed pretty much in one shot and nothing changed. So whether that's, making sure all the cast members are wearing the same clothes as the first shooting day, or making sure all the setting pieces of props are in the right spots. We just want to make sure we had that aspect covered, and that was really something that I learned from this production.
Yeah, that's great. Very interesting.
Rachel,
that you learned so much.
Yep. Well, Rachel, great speaking to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Yep, you too.
Well, as you guys can see, I definitely had a big role kind of behind the scenes, and to go along with that, there were some changes that we really need to make that did go on behind the scenes. This is where I think this podcast becomes really cool because you guys now get to hear some insight. So something that did happen behind the scenes was that we actually had to change roles. I was not supposed to play Gabriel. I was supposed to be Daniel, but we swapped that in order to work with both my schedule and Daniel's schedule for shooting. So I ended up playing that part. It was more convenient for me. I was able to film some parts on my own with my own production crew and kind of get that all handled. So that was a little change that we made, along with, cutting out a character such as Gabriel's dad. We didn't think that character was significant enough. She only had one line. So in order to just get the process going a little faster, we chose to just cut out that character. It was unfortunate, but it had to be done. Of course, technology is a big thing in everything in the world. So we definitely made sure we put that in our production. Without it, we wouldn't be where we are today. I wouldn't even be on this podcast right now if it wasn't for technology. So we utilize aspects such as Blogger, where I was able to showcase my thoughts, again, give fans more of a better insight on the production scene. Also, we used Canva to make some mood boards. We had a team Google Doc. It was a lot of fun. We would post our brainstorming ideas. We had the script, character summaries. All that stuff was all in a shared Google Doc with all of us. And also in terms of shooting, we wanted to make sure that our editors could get the footage quick and easy, no matter who's filming it. So we had a shared album on Apple Photos for people to look at and see our footage and our editing crew. And finally, we got to put this together. So we chose to use iMovie as our editing software. And guys, looks like we're running out of time, but this was a great podcast episode. Before we end, I just want to give a couple thanks to my crew, Julia Winton, Gabriel Rivera. I think we did a great job, and I loved working with you guys. Again, it was a great experience being able to learn a lot more things. All those mini details really kind of meant a lot to me, being able to see just all the hard work, all the minor details that go into making a production. But anyways, I hope you guys tune into episode 2 of the Kicking It podcast. So for Isaac Fleischer, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I'm signing out. Have a great night, everybody.